Hello, everyone. My name is Tyler. I'm a survivor advocate with Breaking Traffic, a program of family resources, and I work in Henry, Rock Island, and Mercer counties in Illinois.
Hi, I'm Gretchen. I am a survivor advocate for Breaking Traffic in Iowa, and I serve Scott County.
Hi, I'm a Breaking Traffic advocate in Iowa, and I serve Clinton, Jackson County.
And we are here today to talk about human trafficking and how it happens here in the Quad City area. This is a presentation for Human Trafficking Awareness Month, which is the month of January in 2021. So we're going to start off here with the basics of what human trafficking is and how it happens here in our area. And then we'll go into sort of warning signs and how you can respond, and then what services Breaking Traffic provides to survivors in our area. Human trafficking is the use of force, fraud, or coercion to control a person and make them engage in commercial sex or labor services. Some examples of force is using physical violence or threats of violence towards the person specifically or towards their family or friends in order to make them work or engage in commercial sex or sex acts. Fraud is using false identities, false promises, or lying about a job or who you are or what your intentions are in order to gain a person's trust or otherwise maintain control over them. And coercion is a manipulation of a person using threats of deportation, threats to out somebody, using photographs or screenshots of conversations in order to blackmail them. That's what that sextortion piece is. And coercion can also be survival sex, which is exchanging sex to have your basic needs of food, shelter, water, or other basic needs met. Some of the ways that we see this happening in our communities is an abusive intimate partner forcing someone to engage in commercial sex. It's also very common in homeless or runaway youth. Runaways are typically approached within the first 48 hours to engage in commercial sex or engage in survival sex. A lot of grooming and recruitment for sex trafficking and labor trafficking happens over social media. So that could look like forming a false friendship, which they can then manipulate and use to coerce a person into engaging in that commercial sex. Or it could also look like fake modeling job offers over Instagram or other examples like that. And then survival sex is also common among youth and adults alike. And it's important to remember that for adults, that force, fraud, or coercion has to be proven in order for it to be trafficking. But minors cannot consent to exchanging sex for something of value, whether that's money or their basic needs. So that force, fraud, or coercion piece does not need to be proven for children. Locally, here in the Quad Cities, Breaking Traffic has served over 500 survivors of human trafficking in the last 4 years. You can see there's been an increase every year. And human trafficking is notoriously underreported. So keep in mind that these are only the survivors that have come forward in our service area. In 2019, there were 98 cases of human trafficking reported for the state of Iowa. And just in our service area, Breaking Traffic served 131 survivors. So that kind of gives you an idea that the survivors are out there, even if they're not necessarily reporting or disclosing that it's happening. So we are trying to reach anybody who is in need of services with this presentation. So we will go into a little bit of what human trafficking might look like and some warning signs that you might be able to spot.
Yeah, I think that's really good to make sure that we are increasing the awareness in the community, especially with Human Trafficking Awareness Month coming up. I think our numbers have gone up in the past couple of years because of spreading awareness in the community, doing the presentations, having more survivors understand what human trafficking is, because a lot of times survivors don't identify as survivors and don't really realize that they are a survivor of human trafficking. Um, so I think that that is great. And Joanna, you want to talk about the signs that we might see?
Yeah. So recognizing the signs. This is not a comprehensive list. Someone who is experiencing trafficking may display one, some, or all of these warning signs. Likewise, as individuals display these warning signs, they may not necessarily be experiencing trafficking as well. So that's good to recognize. Also, I want to say working in sex industries such as like strip clubs, prostitution, sugar babies, or pornography does not necessarily mean that there is force, fraud, or coercion, but they are at high risk. And some of these signs are developing a relationship that seems too good to be true with someone only through social media, not in control of their money or bank account. They may be living where they work and are not free to come and go as they wish. Um, they may have few or no personal belongings. Maybe they are in possession of important documents, so like their IDs or social security cards, birth certificates, things like that. Um, they may show signs of physical and sexual abuse. They also may be being threatened about being outed. So if their trafficker may be telling them like, if you go out, and go away from me, you may be harmed, or things like that. And they also may have been taken away from their main resources, so family, support system, things like that.
I think it's really important for the agencies that we work with and community partners to recognize the signs of someone that's being trafficked so that they can provide referrals to us, so that the people who they are fearful are being trafficked can get advocates to help them, and they can always refer someone even if they don't have like everything. If they think they're at risk for trafficking, they can refer. So I just wanted to say that so that our community partners and people in the community know that.
So if you think someone you know is being trafficked, these are some ways that you can help them. So do not try to rescue them. I know that a lot of people try to just want to rescue people, but make sure that you're being supportive and not trying to like tell them what to do and control their situation. Do not contact authorities without the person's permission unless mandated to do so. Do not make promises you cannot keep. Provide them with family resources crisis line so they can be connected to a breaking traffic advocate as soon as possible. So what can you do? You can educate yourself and others on the potential signs and indicators. So maybe watching more videos like this, learning more statistics, just get yourself educated on this area. Know the signs of human trafficking, and know that they vary from situation to situation. No one single sign can be used to clearly identify trafficking or their situation. So just know that. Respond if you think you see human trafficking. Trust your judgment. Do not approach the situation, but err on the side of caution and call. And you can call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-7888, or you can text "Be Free" to 2333-733. And in a case of emergency, call 911 and call the police. Those will be your best options.
Thanks, Joanna. So if you're wondering how you should respond if a survivor discloses they're being trafficked, here are some actions to take and some things that you could say to someone if they do disclose. It's important to remember that A lot of survivors will not necessarily be open or receptive to the information provided. They may not want to seek help at the time due to fear and coercion factors. They might be blaming themselves or things of that nature. Or it may not be safe for them to do it at the time. Prioritize their safety first, always, because when someone is trying to leave a situation like this, when they are trying to leave, that is the most dangerous and lethal time to get them the help. They could be experiencing a lot of threats, and their safety is a huge factor. When someone does disclose information, telling a story about what happened to them, if it's a traumatic event, the way that the brain processes trauma, there will be memory loss, lack of focus, emotional reactivity, and multiple versions of a story. This could seem like someone is lying, but this is actually the signs of trauma, and it's oftentimes exhibited during interviews. Interviewers should be familiar with the signs of trauma and not assume that the victim is evading the truth. So if someone does disclose that something traumatic has happened to them or they're being trafficked, it's always important to start by believing them. You can say, I'm sorry this happened. I am here for you. Always be supportive. Say, you can tell me as much or as little as you want. It's not your fault. I'm glad you told me. I'm proud of you. Just showing them that support. Ask how you can help. Ask, what can I do to support you? If you're friends with them or know them well, you could say, can I stay with you tonight? Would that help? Do you want me to go with you to the hospital or the police station? Avoid asking why questions, because that can oftentimes be victim blaming, even if you have the best of intentions. Asking why questions can sound accusatory and make survivors blame themselves. So to go on to break in traffic and survivor services and what we as advocates can offer clients that come to us in Iowa and Illinois. We provide legal advocacy, which means that we can accompany survivors through the legal process, through interviews or at court. We do not give legal advice, and we are not lawyers. Medical advocacy means that we can accompany survivors to medical appointments. We can assist them with getting medical care they need by helping them set up appointments. We also respond to the hospital if someone is at the hospital on crisis calls. Educational advocacy means that we can work with any educational institutions the survivor may attend to assist with creating accommodations needed as a result of their trauma experiences. Institutional advocacy means that we attempt to change the culture of institutions within our society so they recognize trauma-informed needs of survivors, and we really want to work with other community institutions, schools, things like that in our community so that they know what trauma-informed care is and can be doing the best to support survivors who have gone through trauma or have been trafficked and be educated. That's why we give presentations to schools as well. Information and referrals means that we can assist survivors with locating any services they may need that we do not provide, such as mental health treatment or legal services. We have a 24-hour response to calls on the Family Resources crisis line, and we offer our services in English and Spanish. We can utilize translators as needed for other languages. We do have an emergency shelter that if someone calls the crisis line, they can talk to them about that if that's needed. We are always client driven, and clients are given the opportunity to seek services on their own terms. Our 24-hour crisis line for Iowa and Illinois, the numbers are listed here. Every call is free and completely confidential. These are all of the counties that we serve. Scott, Clinton, Jackson, Muscatine, and Louisa counties in Iowa, and Rock Island, Henry, and Mercer counties in Illinois. Please reach out to us if you have any questions regarding human trafficking, presentations, advocacy, referrals. We really appreciate you taking the time to listen to this today, and please share this to raise awareness during Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Thank you.